Hi, welcome to Grade 4 Math Review, Part 2. Today I'm going to start with question 36 from your Math Review packet. Question 36 says, which two numbers both round to 1,500 when rounded to the nearest hundred? So I'm going to be using the rounding wrap to help us with this question. And the rounding wrap goes like this. Find the digit, look next door. If it's 5 or bigger, add one more. The numbers to the right turn to 0. The numbers to the left stay the same. So let's take a look at problem A. The first number is 1,399. So the rule says find the digit, so we're rounding it to the hundreds place. So the number that I'm going to use is 3. Found the digit. I'm going to look next door. The number next door is the 9. And it says if it's 5 or bigger, then I need to add one more. So I found the digit. I looked next door. It's 5 or bigger, so I'm going to add one more. Digits to the left stay the same, so the 1 stays the same. 3 plus 1 more is 4, and the digits to the right turn to 0. The second problem says I found the digit in the hundreds place, ones, tens, hundreds. Found the digit in the hundreds place. I looked next door. It is 5 or bigger, so I need to add one more. Digits to the left stay the same. 5 plus 1 more makes the 6. Digits to the right turn to 0. So these two did not both turn to 1,500, so I know letter A is wrong. The next question, letter B, ones, tens, hundreds. There's my hundreds place. I looked next door. This is not 5 or bigger, so that means I do nothing. It stays the same. Digits to the left stay the same. The 4 stays the same. Digits to the right turn to 0. The second part, ones, tens, hundreds place. The 5 is in the hundreds place. I look next door. It's not 5 or bigger, so that means that does not change. Digits to the left stay the same. The 5 stays the same. Digits to the right turn to 0. Both of these did not turn to 1,500, so letter B is also incorrect. Letter C, ones, tens, hundreds. The 4 is in the hundreds place. I look next door. It is 5 or bigger, so it is 5, so I add one more. Digits to the left stay the same. 4 plus the 1 more makes 5. Digits to the right turn to 0. The second part, ones, tens, hundreds. There's my hundreds place. I look next door. It is not 5 or bigger, so it stays the same. Digits to the left stay the same, so the 1 comes down. The 5 stays the same. Digits to the right turn to 0. Both of these rounded to 1,500, so it looks so far that letter C is our answer, but I'm going to go ahead and do letter D to make sure. Ones, tens, hundreds. The 4 is in the hundreds place. I look next door. It is 5 or bigger, so I'm going to add one more. Digits to the left stay the same. 4 plus 1 more is 5. Everything to the right turns to zeros. And the last part, ones, tens, hundreds. The 5 is in the hundreds place. I look next door. It is 5 or bigger, so I have to add one more. Digits to the left stay the same. 5 plus 1 more is 6. Everything to the right turns to 0. So both of these did not both turn to 1,500. So yes, our answer was letter C. Both rounded to 1,500 when we rounded it to the hundreds place. Okay, that was question 36. Now we'll move on to question 37. And question 37 says, the model below is shaded to represent a fraction. Which fraction model is shaded to represent an equivalent fraction? So first we're going to write the fractions that represent each model. We're going to have our fraction names. So in the first picture I have 1, 2. 2 parts are shaded. So that's my numerator. And I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I have 5 parts in all. That's my denominator. So this fraction is called 2/5. I'm going to go ahead and do that for all the other 4 fractions. I have 1, 2 is my numerator. And I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 is my denominator. Letter B, I have 1, 2, 3 is my shaded, is my numerator. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I have 5 parts in all is my denominator, 3/5. Letter C, 1, 2, 3, 4. I have 4 shaded. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 parts in all. That's my denominator, 4/5. And letter D, I have 1, 2, 3, 4 are shaded. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 parts in all. So my fraction name is 4/10. Now that I have my fraction names, I can go ahead and see which fraction is equivalent or equal to 2/5. And we do that by either multiplying or dividing both the numerator and the denominator by the same number. So let's take our 2/5. I'm going to bring it down here. Now, I could either multiply or divide, as long as I do it to both the numerator and the denominator. What number can I multiply 2 by to get 2? Well, I know 2 times 1 is 2, but I have to do the same thing to the bottom. So if I multiply 5 times 1, 5 times 1 is 5, not 10. So these are not equivalent. Let's go on to letter B. I'm going to bring down my 2/5. Is there any number that I can multiply 2 by that will give me 3? And there isn't. There is no number that you can multiply both the top and the bottom to give you 3/5. So the answer to that is no, they're not equivalent. Letter C, I'm going to bring down my 2/5, same thing. Is there any number I can multiply 2 by to give you 4? 2, 4. Yes, 2 times 2 is 4. But the rule says that whatever you do to the numerator, you have to do to the denominator. So 5 times 2 is 10, not 5. So these are not equivalent. And the last problem, bring down my 2/5. What number can I multiply 2 by to give you 4? Well, 2, 4. I can multiply it by 2. 2 times 2 is 4. So I have to multiply the bottom by 2. And 5 times 2 is 10. So these are equivalent fractions. 5/10 is the same thing as 4/10. So our answer is letter D. Now we'll move on to question 38. Question 38, you're going to need your ruler to answer this question, and it has to have inches on it. So our question says, this picture below shows line segments of different lengths in inches. Measure each line segment. Which line plot correctly shows the lengths of the line segments? So these are our line segments. Line segments are lines that have a beginning and an end. These are our 4 line segments. These are our line plots. Now before we start to measure, these line plots are very helpful. I notice that on my line plot, between 1 and 2, if you look at it, there are 1, 2, 3. There are 3 tick marks in between each number. So let me make it larger down here. I have my line plot, and I started with 1, 2, 3. And in between each number, there is 1, 2, 3, 4. There are 3 lines. So since there are 3 lines, or 4 parts, there's 1, 2, 3, there's 4 parts. That means each one of these lines up here represent 1/4, 2/4, 3/4, and of course when you have 4/4, 4/4 is equal to 1 whole. So if I do the same thing to the other side, I have 1/4, 2/4, 3/4, and 4/4. So I just wanted to point that out because understanding that your line plot are cut into fourths will help you when you're measuring your lines on top here. So the first thing I'm going to do is take my ruler, and I'm going to use the inch side. So if I take my inch side, I notice, make sure it goes all the way to the corner of the line. And when I go to measure it, it looks like it went past the 2, and it's on the first hash mark, which means it's 2 1/4. So the first one is 2 1/4. Let me measure the next one. The next one, you take your ruler. It's in between 2 and 3, and it looks like it went to the third hash mark. So this one would be labeled 2 3/4. The next one, when I measure it, it's 1. It's actually on 1 1/2, but since we're using quarters, you'll know that it's on 2/4, and 2/4, if I simplify, is equal to a half. So this one is 1 2/4. We're going to leave it as quarters because everything is in quarter marks. So this one was 1 2/4. And the last one we measured, it goes to 2, and it's up to the first hash mark, which is 1/4. So that one also would be 2 1/4. So now that I have all of my line segments measured, I just have to go and check now which line plot has the X in the right spots. So let's take a look at letter A. Letter A only has 3 X's. I have 4 line segments, so I already know that the first one is incorrect. They only have 3 X's, and I needed 4. So letter A is wrong. Let's move on to letter B. Letter B has 1 on the 1 2/4, which is correct. It has 1 on the 2 1/4, but there's only 1 there, and I measured 2, so I know this one is incorrect. Letter C has 1 on the 1 2/4, which was correct. I have 2 on the 2 1/4, which is 1 there and 1 there, so that is correct. And I have 1 on the 2 1 3/4, which is correct. So letter C is correct. Let's take a look at the last one. The last one has 1 2/4, which was correct. It has 1 on 2 1/4. Again, there should have been 2 of them, so that one was incorrect. So that is our math review for today. I hope this helped you. Thanks for listening, and I'll see you real soon. Bye.